In the course of writing Beyond God the Father, it struck me that rapism was really a stronger and more accurate word to describe the disease of a phallocentric society than sexism, because it really does get to the very act itself of penetration, violation. And rapism, of course, its primary significance is the physical act itself, which puts all of us into what you call a state of siege, all women. I see the rape of women and the rape of the land and water and the rape of blacks, the rape of the poor, of the aged, of children, as all profoundly connected. And the basic paradigm is obviously the intrusion upon women, which can happen in what is really admitted to be rape, or in the more subtle but sometimes equally devastating mind rapes that happen all the time.
So many men, when they're relating to women, are really acting out a scenario they've got in their head. And the woman that they're relating to could be, all women are the same, right? I mean, any, in their minds, any woman could fill that slot. And after a while, in a relationship that would maybe ostensibly be on a good emotional keel and that kind of stuff, I would have this scenario feeling just become very, very clear. I don't think that there is one line over which a male crosses becoming a rapist. All the way back to the idea that men should be heroes, that men should be the actor who goes out and puts his stamp on the world. Well, the real access to putting your stamp on the world that most men have is to put their stamp on a woman. Hollywood movies are filled with violent male sexual fantasies. They show women who say no and mean yes, and even the fantasy of women who supposedly want to be raped. No matter what you do, they're going to say that you acted like you wanted it. I mean, the fact of being female is the crime in a rapist culture.
Well,
I mean,
nuns want it because obviously they're repressed and that's what they need. Prostitutes want it, they sell it. Wives want it, single women want it, married women want it. They have an ideology that encompasses everything. Well, I think when women began to, and males more too, I think, read pornography that passed as literature or just hip, cool stuff, that certainly planted the seeds, as it were, of victimization in women. I mean, this was the thing to do. This was the cool thing to do. And in males, the idea that this was the way to behave toward women. So that it certainly reinforced the whole climate in which it was considered normal to be a rapist. And certainly the fetishism that takes place in pornographic literature, not to mention advertising and in the professions, leads to such violent events as brutal rape murders, where women are literally hacked apart. Women are pictured cut up, and parts of our bodies are looked at. The stocking advertisement that just has the legs, and the bra advertisement that just has the breasts. And totally on the level, too, of body language that we've been taught. The more I study a martial art, I feel like shedding the bindings, you know, on how I stand, how I sit, how I look. I mean, I feel like perhaps the level on which the martial art is most successful is that I look less like an approachable victim when I walk down the street.
I think that people in a violent society must be aware of the level of violence. We can't keep our heads in the sand and say it doesn't exist. It does exist. But I must be aware of it, I must have the information about it, and keep my eyes open, but continue to go out. Not lock myself away in my home, not shut off the phones, not quit my job, you know, not restrict my movement, but to be aware of where I'm going, what I'm doing, how I'm traveling. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of extra work that women have to constantly deal with that men don't have to deal with. How I'm traveling, what time, what neighborhoods, where. But that to continue to travel, I mean, an important statistic is that I think 50 to 61% of the rapes that happen in this country happen in a woman's home. So your home is not really the safest place. So to lock yourself at home may be a very dangerous thing to do. And I don't think that's the way to fight back. The way to fight back is to move out. The way to fight back is to put the patriarchy in a position where it's going to have to change the laws, or things are going to fall apart.
In New Bedford, Massachusetts, a woman went into a bar to buy a pack of cigarettes. When she tried to leave, she was assaulted and raped for 2 hours on a barroom table. She was raped by 4 men who were helped by 2 other men as a room full of bar patrons, a bartender, and owner looked on. Reports indicate that men in the room clapped and cheered on the rapists. No one tried to stop the rape or even call the police.
The way we physically move around from day to day, remembering to lock our car door, thinking about whether it's too late at night to drive over to see this friend, you know. I mean, all women know that we live with that.
Yeah. And the strange thing about the way all women know is that it's a kind of knowing that's been very private, personalized, that women were afraid to say out loud, and that was fragmented. And so all you have to do, in many cases, is to say it out loud, and the fragmentations within the head that box this piece of information off from this, off from this, off from this, fall apart, like they crumble like cardboard. And then, of course, all the interconnections begin to be made, and what we begin to overcome is the fragmentation of consciousness, or the lobotomization that made us blot out 99% of what was actually happening all around us. And it seems to me that once that eye has been opened, it almost requires a perverse act of will to completely close it.